Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm so excited to introduce you to our new guest today, Hope Ellis. She is a writer for Smarty Pants Romance, and we're so excited to have you on the show, Hope. Welcome.
Thank you.
She is a health outcomes researcher by day, writes romance by night, and features sexy nerds. What more do we need here, friends? What more do we need here? Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to write these books, and where did this all start?
All right. Well, let's see. Personally, I'm probably pretty boring.
No.
I'm a researcher by day, so I have a lot of fun working with older adults and trying to improve their health now. I've done work in health disparities, and you'll see a lot of that probably pop up in my books, some of the passion and the interest that I have in those areas. I'm originally from Michigan. I live here in Florida, and I will tell you that I miss autumn more than anything.
Oh, but Michigan is autumn.
I know.
It's the truth. It is.
I know. Especially the west side. Yes, I see your pictures. Another brook always keeps me up to date. And so I miss fall so much. So that I think is the most relevant thing I can say. I'm Hope Ellis, and I miss autumn more than anything in the whole wide world right now. In terms of how I got started, I am a massive, massive fan of Penny Reid, massive. And so one day I just happened to see, I think it was in her groups, or it came across somewhere where she was advertising or making clear that she was going to start this new publishing company. And I think it was for the second launch. Yes. And so I saw that, and something in the back of my brain just went, what if you tried? And I had like 15 other things that said, probably we should not. But I said, no, I'm going to try. And lo and behold, it worked out, and I'm living the dream all the time now, which is crazy to me. Yeah.
Which I think it's really important to talk about what you just said, because you said, what if this happens? And you took a leap, and it did. And that is just so important for anyone watching this. Maybe it's not writing, maybe it's something completely different, but we'll never know unless we try.
That is true. I did not see this coming. I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be here at this point.
So for those of you watching and have no idea what we're talking about, Hope writes under Smarty Pants Romance, which I think her tagline is Smart Romance. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And so I have had Penny Reid as a guest on the show. She owns the publishing house of Smarty Pants Romance.
That's right.
And also a super amazing, prolific writer. She writes I think we had her on and we talked about Totally Folked, which was a great book series with the Winston brothers, and she is just so fun. So she invited other authors to join her publishing house that she created, and she has a very distinct brand, and we were just talking about that. I absolutely love the quality of her books. Your books are just fabulous. Number one, I'm not going to pick on authors with these small, tiny mass paperback, but I love a big, like, nice I can hold and dive into. That I have like old lady eyes now that I'm almost 40, that I'm like, your books are just so. I had one. I was sitting at the chiropractor the other day reading, and they were like, that is a beautiful book. Where did you get that? And I said, it's hard to explain actually what I do. So I just was like, Amazon, because when you try to explain to people you have a show, they're like, what?
Like, that's a lot of explanation, yeah.
It's a lot of explanation. Like, I was trying to explain to somebody at the library the other day, and I could tell she was like, here's your book. Go away. You're weird. So Amazon, you can grab these books here. They're beautiful. I'm very selfishly hoping that you have more coming so that these aren't lonely on my shelf.
Of course. Of course.
Okay. I cannot wait to ask more about that. So your first book, let's talk about the first book, because
yes.
Been there, done that. This is your pandemic baby. Is that right?
Yes, that's my baby.
Oh my
yes.
Okay, so you first released this in a pandemic. How was that for you? Happy first release in a pandemic.
Yes. Okay, so it was a relief and a wonder to publish a book. Yes, but been there, done that is slightly angsty. So I was a little worried, because I think during the pandemic, we all were trying to get happy and try to find some way to balance out the sads of being stuck inside with your cat. That just might be life, but But I think it was a joy to come out. I got wonderful feedback, but I
Yeah.
think also, readers had to also contend with like, oh, it's a little bit angsty. But I think as time went on, the appreciation for it grew. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I love when writers just write their truth. There's, and just own it. They're like, yeah, that's what it is. It's so good. And you're like, angsty? Yes, sign me up. So this
Yeah.
one was your first one. Can they read them out of order or should they go in
Yes,
order?
they can. They can read them out of order.
Okay, so they're not, well, I mean, we highly recommend you start with Been There, Done That, and then go on into this one. And that, it'll kind of explain. And
Yes.
let me know if I say this right. Oh my gosh, I really don't want to mess it up, but Leffersby?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, so that's the family, the main family we follow,
Yes.
and all their history, and I love that. And thank you guys so much for following along. We have a lot of people watching right now. And where did you get your inspiration from for this series?
Well, first and primarily, it came from Penny Reed in the Green Valley world. So I should point out the larger context is that these characters are in the Green Valley world. And so my particular family is related to a family that's featured in Penny's books. And so these are the Leffersbys. They own a bank. And I think I was thinking about, what is the experience like? You're looking at a family that owns a bank, in rural Tennessee. What are some of the issues that might come up? What are some of the issues, particularly because this is a Black family as well, and they're interested in issues of equity. So I think that's where a lot of the plot lines, the interest came from. I think my own background in health also helped as well. So in some way or the other, there will usually be a vein of how do we have equity in healthcare running throughout my books as well. So I think that those are prevailing themes in both books.
And I love that. So once again, those of you watching this, there is a whole book world out there, I guess you could call it. And the Smarty Pants romance, this is the branding here. So multiple authors will write about a world, which is super fun because you can all take different parts and different perspectives and kind of cultivate this huge world of people and different perspectives and different authors. And it's just really fun. So this has been happening for a long time, only it's just not as cool as it is today. For example, I think I grew up reading Nancy Drew books.
I did too.
And they're actually written under a pen name. I don't think I realized that until I was really older, and I was like, what? And they're all written, and sometimes you could see they would differ in style, and I would notice that a little, but I didn't think much of it. But this is taking a lot of different authors and bringing them together and taking different families and different, Penny writes such great books too, but she probably couldn't give, your perspective on the healthcare side and banking side and all of that. And so this is just the coolest way to read a whole world of people in different voices. It is my favorite. And when I realized that was what this was a part of, I was like, oh my gosh, I need all the Smarty Pants romance books right now. All of them. So where, what are you currently working on?
So right now I'm working on another series, a trilogy. And this is going to be women who are based in Detroit. Who are working together. Yes, I have some personal experience with that. Who are working together as professors, and they're working their way through professional and personal loves and losses. So it's a lot of fun. Yes.
And I love when there's just different cities I've never been to, different foods, different experiences, and all of that. Are they going to be with the Smarty Pants romance?
This particular project, no, but I do have another plan that I can't bring up just yet. It's a surprise.
Okay. Hey, that's cool. Well, I think we just want to make sure that you're still, got stuff coming.
I promise you, I will keep this coming. I have probably about 4 or 5 planned out from here, so no end in sight. Yes.
Wow, for 2022
and beyond. Yes.
I'm really happy to hear that because
once you start having fun, it's such a fun world to play in. And it's given me such a great opportunity, I think, personally, to kind of converge with other series that work along with it that might be separate from Smarty Pants. It's just endless possibilities. It's a lot of fun.
So much fun. So let's talk a little bit about this one. what is your, where did this story come from? Where did you, I mean, obviously we know it's spun off of the first one, but let's talk about this one. How, like, tell me all about it.
Okay. So I'm trying to think of the best way to do this without spoiling anything. I will say the character Walker was someone that I met while I was working at a cancer center. And we got to talking, and he just told me his life story, and it just was intriguing. I learned a lot about him, and it helped me to think about what is it like to date when you're dealing with certain issues. You know, when you have to think about, how do I tell someone that I'm dating that I have this, or how do I explain that I might have a particular health outcome as a result of something? How do I go into a romantic relationship? Will I be accepted for that? What will happen? So I think all of those were questions that he was grappling with, that I was thinking about. And so my character doesn't deal with cancer, and it's nothing as grave or serious as that. But I think similar questions are brought up, and it really brings to mind, you know, I think we all want to be unconditionally loved. And I think sometimes that's hard to imagine. If we imagine deficits in ourselves, how will I be acceptable, or how might this work? Will someone accept me? And how might we respond to that? What might be your defense mechanism as a result of that? So Walker is a complex character. He's very much, he's very protective. He's very much a perfectionist. He very much wants to make the world right, but he's also very hard on himself. And I think that is something that is very interesting when you play it against Lee, who's very guarded, who's working very hard to work against some of her past betrayals, which are significant. She's had some significant betrayals in the past, and she's a little hard. And she's afraid to think about Walker as her potential love interest, even though there's that attraction and it's simmering there a little bit. So I think both of them are working towards finding completion and happiness, despite baggage from the past or what they might imagine to be a perceived deficiency in some way. Yeah.
One of the things I love about your bio is you write about sexy nerds. And I think that is the best. That's my favorite, is that it's not, there's no box for your work. It's anything goes. And that's
weird.
The
Yeah.
part about the Smarty Pants. You guys just have to check it out. It's hard to describe.
Yeah.
But once you understand this publishing house and all the cool things that they're doing, you're just invested. Yes. It's a great community of beautiful writers and just amazing. And so for those of you watching, what is your favorite Smarty Pants romance book? And if you have read these, what did you think of them, and which one was your favorite so far? So I don't know that I could pick a favorite, because I like them for different reasons, different characters. But I love seeing all the Easter egg like crossovers and the family dynamics. It's almost like I feel sad and almost don't want to read a book that isn't a series. I don't know. But
you need that completion, I think. You need to see all the way to the end. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just something about knowing that you have something else on your TBR pile that kind of flows and can move into next. And you're like, okay, there's still more. There's, it's not sad. You're not like savoring at the end, like hoarding pages.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you reading right now for fun?
Oh, man. I just did a reread. I will tell you that I am in love with Jennifer Cruzy, like in love, in love, in love. And I'm always waiting for the next book. I wish I could be one of those creepy readers and, like send letters like, please write another book. But I love her.
I do that. No.
I think that's normal behavior, right?
Yeah.
So I just did a reread of Maybe Next Time, which is a ghost story, which I love a lot. So maybe because it's Halloween, that's why I picked it up. But that was amazing. Another book I would highly recommend is Upsy Daisy by Chelsea Edwards. It's also in the Smarty Pants family, and it also branches off of one of Penny Reid's characters. It's an amazing book. It's young adult. It's set in a college, and it's just, young people finding their way to love early on and fumbling and learning about themselves. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. Let's see, what else have I been reading? There's been so much. I'm trying, and of course now I'm blanking.
Terrible. That's okay. So we have some great comments. Kristen
Lisa
said,
Kleypas in her latest book.
Oh, yeah. I will admit something. I've never read anything of hers, but I want to. I just don't know where to begin. She's pretty prolific.
Oh, can I make recommendations?
Absolutely. Let me write this down.
I love Lisa Kleypas. I mean, I've been reading Lisa Kleypas. Well, okay, I won't say how long I've been reading romance because but I love her. And I would start with the Wallflowers first.
The Wallflowers. Okay.
Because it'll also bring you up to date with the current series that's happening, and then hit the Hathaways.
Okay.
Because Cam Rohan is the best book boyfriend ever in the world, forever and ever. Amen. Like, that's it. Yes.
We have some great comments. Kristen said Easter egg crossovers are my favorite. They always make me feel like I'm such an astute reader. And Ikeem said, besides Hope's, I really liked April White's books. I do too.
Yes.
I just had her on the show recently. I love her Cypher Security series. Amazing, amazing.
She's amazing.
And Ikeem said, I'm still reading Before and After You, so I can't decide on a favorite just yet. And loved Upsy Daisy. R says, I loved Been There, Done That. Can't wait to start Before and After You.
Aw.
Aww.
I know. Been There, Done That. It always has a special place in my heart. Zora and Nick.
That is awesome. So can you imagine if you hadn't taken a chance on yourself and tried this?
I know. I can't even imagine. This is taking me to places I never would have dreamed. And it's been such a pleasure. It's changed my life, really and truly. So I would tell anyone who's considering leaping off the end of a cliff, just go ahead and do it. Just
in writing, not
take the metaphorical jump.
Yeah, the metaphorical jump, not the real cliff. Don't do that.
Metaphorically.
R Pearson says, please start the next one now.
Aww.
Oh, so there's more coming. It sounds like 2022 and 2023 are going to be really great years for you writing wise. So. And we were talking a little bit about that before we hit record is, you really can't put a price on peace and happiness and just really finding that joy.
Yes.
There's a lot of things in life that we think are obstacles, but man, peace and joy, when you absolutely have that and you are in your lane and you know that what you do is making you happy and bringing you joy, you just really can't put a value on that. It really does just, your engine is fueled. You get up every day and I'm going to write today. I'm going to write something really cool.
I have to concur. Yes, I have to concur. I think I've had a lot of training to do what I do professionally. And the joke that we always had at work was, I would say, I'm just doing this so I can write romance novels. And they would go, oh, whatever. And I'd be like, no, I'm serious. Like, I want to write romance novels. And to do it was, to me, it's still mind-boggling. And some of my colleagues, there are a few who know, they're amazed, like, you actually did it. So it's very fulfilling. And I think it's the most fulfilling thing I've done in a while. So I can't put a price on that.
That is amazing. I love to see, especially, we just came through such a rough couple of years, and to really have this icing on the cake and say, this is hope, literally Hope Ellis.
Yes, that's why I picked that name.
Yeah. And so I always like to ask you, what are you watching right now?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just started, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but I never watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And
my son loves that.
Oh my gosh, I just started it. So I'm on this binge now, and I don't care about anything else. I just want to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I am in the middle of season 3, and it is just pure undiluted happiness. I love it. So that's my happy place. And then there's also Queen Sugar, which is a favorite of mine. I love junk television, reality television. When the Kardashians come back, I will be there. So yes.
Well, I love to always get ideas, so that's why I always ask. One of the things that I have a question on, I know you can't say much, but the trilogy, is that going to be all about Detroit?
It'll be based in Detroit.
Okay, so it'll be that, but those 3 will be the professors?
Yes.
Oh, that is exciting.
Yes.
Okay.
And as a Detroiter, I love the idea of, I think you hear so much about Detroit, and a lot of it's not positive, and it's going through a real renaissance. So it's a great opportunity.
Eminem has a new restaurant there, so maybe you can throw that in there a little.
Yeah, that's right. Ma Spaghetti, of course.
Yeah. I know. We're big. We like Eminem in our house, so.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exciting. So
who doesn't? Yeah.
Where do you have a favorite spot that are you going to write a series maybe in Florida? Is that something that
Yes.
you do? Yeah.
Okay, so I just Tinsels and Tatas, which was an
Right.
anthology that we did.
How did I forget to talk about that? Because
there's lots. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's an anthology that we did, and it's for the Young Survival Coalition for Cancer, and it was a cause near and dear to my heart to be able to contribute to it. My best friend passed away from cancer Christmas Eve of last year, and so my story, a trivia pursuit, which is set with Friends to Lovers romance, and there's a really fun trivia tournament, but it's based on not just the romance, but also the friendship between the heroine and the best friend. So that was a lot of fun to write. But that's set in Detroit, and it's a short story, and it's going to kick off another series called Barflies, which will be set here in Tampa, where I actually live at the moment. So I'm thinking geographically for both, in terms of both Tampa and Detroit. Yeah.
That is super fun. Yeah. And I love that you did that. I'm so sorry to hear about your friend. That is just incredibly hard. And gosh, that is, but what a beautiful way to honor your friend.
Yes, it is. I think for as long as I'm living and writing, I will be trying to make her proud, certainly. And this was a great way to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think you hit that on the head. I do believe that. How can you not be? You've done some really cool things. I mean, you still work full time, right?
I do.
So you work full time and then you write romance at night.
I do.
When do you sleep? No.
Oh man, lately not a lot. You know, it's not a whole lot. I need to work on it, but I'm having fun. When you do what you really love to do, you know, when I get off work, which I also love to do, but you know, when I'm able to transition, it's a happy time for me. It's like, oh, I get to go play. You know, I have can't see it, but I have a board, a wide erase board that has like plot lines drawn all over. So my cat sitter finally got up the nerve to say, like, what do you do? Like, it's kind of freaky and weird.
She's like, you're like, I'm plotting crime scenes over here.
Yeah.
And they're like
I'm kind of concerned. Like, what do you mean? What's Tavia's secret? What's happening here? So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, now you're too nice, because I would have come up with something completely a mess and they would have been like, okay.
I should have. Next time I will.
I always wonder, like, when people come over to my house, they probably wonder what I do too. Like, why does she have all these cameras? Why are there lights up? What is happening in this?
I would wonder too. And the options are so wide.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
What advice would you have for aspiring writers? Maybe somebody who's in their 9-to-5 grind and or even a creative. Maybe they want to start something, maybe not even writing, maybe something just, you know, it's not always work and, you know, rinse and repeat, but I think you hit the nail on the head. We have to find our passion. And like when we were little kids, we would go to school and then maybe it was just me, but I would come home and go out to play and go climb trees and ride bikes and play with my friends. And this is our going out to play, is sitting down and writing.
Yes.
And, you know, finding that creative outlet. So what advice would you have for an aspiring creative that maybe needs to find their outlet?
So I will tell you that in my journey, I've learned a lot about that balance between been there, done that, and before and after you. I, by trade, am pretty type A and structured. And what I have found is that you do have to have some structure, because sometimes if you just wait for the muse to hit you, you will find you're not getting a lot done. So there has to be some discipline, whether you say, I'm going to get up early and write, or I'm going to devote X amount of time after I'm done working to writing. You want to make sure you get the consistency in, because to answer your first question, I think from my perspective, the answer is to write. You know, I think I don't know who it is. I don't want to attribute it to Stephen King, but someone that says, you know, you're going to write a first draft and it might be the draft that goes under your bed for a while and no one sees it. And maybe you don't do anything with it. But the key is you've got to write that first draft and then you've got to write the second. And writing really is something that improves over time. So I am an academic writer, but writing fiction is something different, and that's something that you learn. But then also you still have to nurture your creativity. So you don't want that thing that you love to become a chore either. You have to learn, you know, how do you kind of keep this reciprocal relationship going where you're still feeding your joy, you're still getting life, and you're still feeding that creativity so that you're fresh and happy and engaged about what it is that you're doing, because you don't want to lose the love of what you do. So I think it's a balance. But when you love what you do, you don't mind giving up the time. You don't mind if you have to get up an hour early, or if you're up until 2 or whatever it takes. It's that thing that you love doing.
Yeah. I love that so much. So do you have a word goal you hit every day, a chapter goal? What do you do to keep yourself structured?
I typically give myself a word goal every day. Sometimes I will say, you know what, we're going to have Sunday off. Or maybe sometimes I'll even take the weekend off if, life is going crazy or haywire or whatever the case is. But typically when I'm hard at work and trying to get a project done, I will say, okay, we've got to get, at least 1,500 or 3,000 words done. Now, I'll be transparent and say that doesn't mean that life doesn't happen, because of course it does. And I have found myself sidetracked by whether it was delays or a friend passing away or just family stuff. Those things happened, but typically I have to keep a leash on myself in a sense, because there's Brooklyn Nine-Nine and the Kardashians on. So
you got to earn your TV time.
I do. Yes.
Awesome. Well, where can we find you online to support you?
Oh, okay. So you can find me in all the places, I think. You can find me on Instagram at Hope Ellis Writes. You can find me on Twitter at Hope Ellis Writes. You can also find me on Facebook at Hope Ellis Writes. And I'm also, I think I've covered all of it. Oh, and BookBub. Please feel free to follow me on BookBub as well. I'd love that. And if you visit my website, hopeellis.com, you can sign up for my newsletter. Yes.
So also too, Amazon, just, leaving our authors reviews on Amazon does really help them. Yes, and, leave her lots of stars and just, write some, you don't even have to go all in. Most people think you have to go all in for a review, just, an honest review. Hey, love this, or can't wait to read more. But that does really help give them traction and on Amazon as well. And so definitely please take the time to do that if you have read the book and love it. And if you don't do that. No, I'm just kidding. No, of course.
No, that's honest.
But
I appreciate that.
Also, be sure to follow her on Amazon, Hope Ellis on Amazon, so that you can see when she puts out new content and new books. Yeah. And I always hate when I don't follow someone and then later on I'm like, what? You did 6 books? I have to catch up. Oh my gosh. So you don't want to miss that. So definitely hit that follow button and follow your authors on there. That does just keep you kind of plugged in with them. And Akeem said, I attest to the last newsletter being fire. Yay! Oh my gosh. And Kristen said the last newsletter was, oh my gosh, yes. So glad I signed up.
Yes. If you like Steam.
Well, I have not signed up. So I'm going to go do that right after this.
Yes.
And I'm going to need to know what happened in that newsletter because so
things happened. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hang tight 1 second, Miss Hope.